Hello, and thanks for tuning back into the channel. I'd like to welcome you. If you're not a current subscriber, go ahead and hit the subscribe button right now. Hit the little bell. You'll be notified every time we upload a new video. Hit the like button so YouTube can share it with other people and it shows up higher on the list, because this video is going to help you change out your basement window. And even if it's not the right size, I'm going to show you how to make it fit perfectly. Now, this is only going to show you how to make a window that is too small for the hole fit the hole. If you have a window that is too large for the hole that's currently there, that's a different process altogether. And when I come across it with one of my clients, I will make a video for that, guaranteed to show you how to do it. But this window here was ordered by the client. She measured everything. Then she hired me to put it in. She was actually going to put it in herself and then was intimidated by the project, because the outside of the house is also stucco, so you have to be very careful not to knock too much of the stucco off. So she ordered the window. The width was absolutely spot on. However, the height was about 1.25 inches too small. The window was 1.25 inches too small. So I'm going to show you how we make this window fit. Katana's helping me, and we're going to do it right after this. Window that we need to replace is one that has broken glass in it. We're just replacing the whole window out right here. So this is a dog. Keeps a dog in the yard. Invisible fence. This is what we got here. Homeowner's out there talking to Katana right now. Alright, so we've got these 4 screws that hold this in, and a whole bunch of spray foam insulation. Alright, let's take these screws out and see what happens. Probably nothing. It's going to be all held in by the styrofoam insulation. She said she tried to change this herself, but the screws got stripped. I'm going to take this window right completely out of here. If you knew who the window manufacturer was, you could order a new sash for this. It's only held in by 4 screws, but we do not know, and there's no indication on here, so we have to change the whole window. I'm going to take the window right completely out so that we can take that screw out of there. Now wiggle it a little bit, you should get it. There we go. Let me get this out of the way completely. Yeah, we just don't want to break the stucco, so make sure it's cut away from the stucco. Not breaking stucco? Did that over here?
Just a tiny piece of stuff in the window. But this one.
So what we're going to do is we're going to score right here. And these flanges bust right off easy. Really, you only have to score it one time. Right. There you go. Now I'm going to sit this in there, Katana. Katana? Katana? I'm going to sit this in here. You got to keep it, don't let it fall out, all right? I want to see how much difference we have here. Can you hold that right there? Is that even with the outside? Okay, so Katana put these air shims in, pumped them up from the outside, making sure the window is right where we wanted it to be. And if you look, we have a big gap under the window, which is flush at the top where we want it. So what we're going to do is one of two things. We can use PVC trim under here, a PVC board, this stuff here, but it's not thick enough. We would need to rip more down, and we'd need to fasten it to the concrete. Or we can wet the concrete and pack cement into it and make the cement nice and even. Of course, after the window's put right where we want it, after it's all screwed in. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put the cement underneath of it instead of the PVC. I just think it comes for a nicer look, and we'll put a few screws into the bottom of the window, screwing up into the window like this, not long, short ones. And what they'll do is they'll bite into the window and they'll bite into the concrete that we stick in here. And then what you end up with is a window that's secured at the bottom because the screw is embedded into the concrete, screws into both sides of the window, and a screw up into the top as well. All right, so we're out here with Katana now, and this is what she sees. And don't go by this, that looks like it's a little crooked or anything, because the stucco could be thicker in one spot. The actual level says that it's plumb, and we're going to fill that full of white silicone. And this is sitting back 1/4 of an inch. Well, this side's sticking out less than this side. I'd like this side to come a little bit, even if it's off a little bit. Let me do it when I get inside. Got it right where you want it?
Yep.
Sure?
Oh, hold on.
But you just moved it again.
I know I did. Right there.
Right there?
Yep.
Don't move. Bottom okay?
Everything's good, yep.
This side okay, top?
Yep.
And bottom? Alright, so all 4 holes I went through with a 1/8 inch drill bit, and I put 4 holes. All I did was make marks in here, pretty much. I went in a little deep, but it made marks where this has to go, where the screws are going to go. The holes that's in here are going to line up with them again. I'm going to take the window out. I'm going to make those holes bigger, and I'm going to put anchors in. This way when I drive screws through, they go into anchors and hold this nice and tight. But before we do that, we need to do something about the bottom to make sure that the bottom gets stuck to the concrete. This smooth plastic won't stick to concrete.
Okay.
It'll be loose. It won't really be loose because this bottom one will hold it. But I'm going to show you how we'll make this more secure. This woman, I don't want somebody breaking in her window that I put in, kicking it in and getting into her house. So I'll show you how we make that more secure. So now you can go ahead and take these shims out. And you can take the window right out to you and sit it wherever you want it. And now you see the 4 holes that I drilled. Now you see the 4 holes. There's one here, just off of where they had an anchor. And there's another one up here, right there. And then on the same thing on this side, one here and one up here. So we're going to pull these anchors out so they're not in our way. We'll probably have to use a pair of pliers, but these are going to come out and we're going to use the new holes. And I'll put anchors into them. Yeah. Ain't much holding your window in, is there? This window's gonna have a lot more holding it in. All right, so what I'm gonna do to make sure that I drill deep enough. If I don't drill deep enough and I go to put this screw in and it bottoms out into the concrete block, I'm gonna be in trouble. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the screw that I'm sticking in there up to the end of the bit and then bring it back as if it was a little bit longer, because there's going to be some dust left in the hole. And then I'm going to put a piece of tape on my drill bit right where the head of that screw is. This way I know if I drill to the blue tape, I've drilled deep enough into the masonry, because it's beyond it. All right, now we're going to put the anchors in. I'll put an anchor up in there and tap it in. All right, so now to make sure, this is the top. Turn it around so this side faces this way, please. So this, when it goes in this hole, has that gap at the bottom that we need to fill with cement. So what we're going to do is I've got these screws, these drywall screws. Now you can't drive them all the way in, otherwise what will end up happening is you'll go right into your window. But you can go in a part of the way with these, and you definitely can in the corners. So we're going to take and we're going to put, can you hold the window from moving?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
And we're going to stick it in right like this. And we're going to stick it in only that far so it sticks out. See how it sticks out? It's pretty tight in there. Now we're going to bring the window in a little bit more, and we're going to stick one here. And just that tight. We're not going any tighter. And then we're going to come in a little more. I'm going to stick one here. And then we're going to stick one on that end. Again, not all the way. We want them sticking out a little bit. You go too far, the window's not going to open. Now we're going to test it and make sure the window does open and that we don't see the screws on the inside. We don't see any of the screws from the inside. From in here, you can feel, rub my finger, don't feel nothing. Close this back down. And now we're going to install the window with the screws into those anchors. These are going to hang below, and when we pack cement around them, the cement will grab these and fasten it to the bottom. All right, take it out. And you're going to have to sit it back in. And remember, you're going to have to just put those airbags between the, hold on, let me get some screws. You're going to have to put those airbags between the screws I stuck in there. I got to get this one in just a tiny bit more. There we go. All right, take the shims out and we should be in good shape. And feel how secure that is.
Yeah.
Opens, closes nicely. Just like that. Now, we need to take care of the gap. See the gap along the bottom? That's easy peasy. Lemon squeezy right there. And Katana's going to show you how to do it. Alright, so this is what the outside looks like. Before it's silicone, it's just been mounted. And there's the gap on the underside, right there. Going to ask the homeowner which way she prefers those wires to go. They can go through the cement, or they can go through the window. Her choice. You can see Katana's packing in the cement all under the window.
Clothes are ruined now too.
Don't fill the end of that tube. Make sure that you move it out of your way if you have to. And as you can see, it's packing in right underneath it there, see? Okay, I'm going to do a voiceover here because I was holding the camera in my hand, and often that introduces sounds of me moving the camera around. It's a very sensitive microphone in the GoPro. So what you see is Katana packing the cement around the screws and underneath of the window. And you can see it oozed out on my side a little bit there. You want that because her side needs to be flush. Once she packs it underneath of there, you'll see I will take this 3-inch putty knife that I have and I will drag across it and repack it in further down as we move along the bottom of the window. Now if you don't have two people and you need to do this yourself, you can just take the window sash out of the frame and you can reach out and do it from the outside and clean it up. Now I'm going to show you how we're going to get this to be really nice and smooth. And yes, I'm using the putty knife to smooth it out there, as you can see, and taking my finger and cleaning it off the vinyl. But there's another trick that you can use, and you have to have all the cement in place where you want it before you introduce this other tip I'm going to show you. But let's take a look at it. I'm going to speed this up and we'll get to the tip. And as you can see, it's packing in right underneath it there, see? All right, I'm going to sponge it. It's wet, but not dripping. Well, dripping a little bit, but it's not soaking wet. And what we're going to do is feather it in. Like that, so she looks perfect. How's the outside looking? Now I'm wringing it out really tight, so there's hardly any water in here at all. And I'm pretty much cleaning the vinyl. I am hitting the cement as well, but I'm pretty much cleaning the vinyl. Okay, so I'm going to show you a close-up here. We have that tube in place for the dog wires for the invisible fence to run through, and then we will silicone the very end outside to keep bugs from coming in. The bottom of this is all smoothed out. It looks perfect underneath of there. We are going to silicone around the window. However, we're not going to do it until the cement totally cures. Reason being is there's an agent in the cement that speeds up the drying process and the curing process, and that creates a lot of heat, and I don't want the heat to be against the silicone. So in about half an hour, we'll seal it. And Katana's going to make it look bumpy with a soaking wet sponge and pushing on it, and it should come close. It's not going to be the same exact as the stucco that's on the wall, but by doing that, it creates it to be a little bit bumpy. And this is our spot for our wires to go in right there in that little tube. So when we silicone all this in, it's going to be a nice secure window. Good job, Katana. I want to show you a little bit of a close-up here. What she's doing is she's taking globs of cementol that are still in the bucket. And you don't want to do this with a bare hand. Make sure you have latex gloves on, because this will dry your skin out and you'll have very rough skin for several days, even if you try moisturizing. She's taking little globs of it and she's pushing it into the cementol that's already in there. Now this cementol that's in front of her that's on the wall already is not completely dry yet. Best time to add something to it is when it's not completely dry, because you want them to fuse together. If it is completely dry, you can spray it with water before you do this. But she's taking gobs of this stuff, and then she's taking a wet sponge and she's trying to like blend it into the surroundings around her. So now it's time to silicone. It's been about 25 minutes. We went out, had a sandwich in the truck, and took like a lunch break. Rejuvenated ourselves, and now we're back. So this is the final step. I just want to put silicone around both the inside and the outside of the window. If you smear it with your finger, you get a nice, even look to your bead of silicone. And the cement is no longer, warm to the touch, so it's okay to silicone around the base of it now. I could have done the other three sides and came back for the base, but I like everything, all the silicone around all the sides, to be blended into each other, so it's a steady seal all the way around the window. Now we're going to jump to the outside, and I'll show you what we're going to do there. Now you may not know this, but GE silicone sealant is a very good adhesive as well. You can use this to hold things together very well. Right there where the nozzle is, there's a piece of stucco that chipped off and fell out. And rather than just pack that full of cementol, Katana's actually going to put a piece of the stucco that fell out back in there again. And we're just using a little bit of the silicone to adhere it back to the wall. Once it's adhered in there, then we can go around the cracks of it, and eventually this is going to be painted. Now, that brings up an interesting topic, because if you know this or not, you can't paint silicone. Silicone does not accept paint. If you put paint over silicone, it'll just flake off almost immediately. So the way around that, and I have to give kudos to Jeff Thorman and his channel Home Renovision. He's from Canada, and cheers, Jeff, if you're watching this, and kudos. He taught me a valuable lesson, and that was using spray shellac. Now, I use spray can shellac to cover water stains in ceilings when I'm doing painting. If there's a water stain and the drywall's in good shape, you can put a spray shellac over that, let it dry, a couple coats of it, and you can paint right over it, and you'll never see the water stain. That also comes from my mother. She used to use varnish to do the same thing. Varnish is something that the old-timers used on just about all the furniture that they ever built. But anyway, use a spray shellac on there, and you can paint over silicone. So you spray the shellac onto the silicone after it's cured, and when the shellac dries, you can paint right over it and hide all of your sins. So this window, you see we stuccoed the bottom of it again and tried to make that match as best we could. Once it's painted the same color, you'll never notice that the pattern might be slightly different. The eye is fooled by color and distance. So if it's 4 feet of an issue and it blends in color-wise with the same type of shadows, chances are you're not going to see it. And this window is about little over 2 feet wide. So I think it's like 28 inches. You shouldn't see it. We're going to paint this next time. It's not something that's going to be part of this video because I don't have this color paint with me, and it's something that I have to get. I scanned it with my color scanner, and oddly enough, the name of the paint color is stucco. So go figure, right? So we're going to go ahead and paint this next time I come. Now, make sure that you seal everything all at the same time. This way, the silicone is bled into each other very well and merged in. Now you see that those wires sticking out through the tube. That's the invisible fence for the dog. If she ever needs to change them, she could dig out the silicone from the end of the tube or run a screwdriver through it if she has to, and she can change those wires out. That's what it looks like. I want to thank you for watching. If you like videos like this, my God, please subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up so that the algorithm in YouTube shares this with other people. And do me one more favor. Have yourself a fine day.